God bless football, Billy Gill.
God bless football, Mikey A.
God bless football, Mike Golic Jr.
Ooh.
Wow.
God bless football, Stugotz. How we doing, guys?
We're doing good, Mike Golic. Thank you, Mike Golic Jr. It's your dad's birthday, and so we gave your dad the gift of a week off from us.
It's a great gift.
Best thing he's going to get all year.
It's better than I got him, which was nothing. So
Right.
you guys did me a favor in this. Thank you.
Okay, so it's funny, Billy. Me and Mikey A were having this conversation right before you joined the Zoom, right before Gojo joined the Zoom as well. At what age do you stop buying your parents' birthday gifts?
I still buy my parents' birthday gifts. Are you saying at what age of like the person, the buyer, or what age the person of the receiver?
I asked Mikey A, what do you think Gojo got Mike Golic for his birthday? And Mikey A said, I stopped getting my dad birthday gifts a long time ago.
But is it because of your dad's age, Mikey, or is it because of your age?
I think it's because of his age, because like there's nothing I'm going to get him that he won't just get for himself.
Well, how old is your dad, if you don't mind me asking?
72.
Had to think about that.
74.
74. Okay.
It's all right. I forgot if my dad was 62 or 63 this morning when we were doing the show at the beginning, and so I just laid it out so he would say it, and then I would remember it on the back end. So happy 62nd birthday, Dad.
If you purchase your dad a gift, would he get mad at you? Like, hey, what are you doing?
No.
I don't need this. I don't want this.
No, so here's the thing with me and my dad and gift giving and the way my family's operated in general is we don't like being bound by, oh, it's birthday gift time or, oh, it's Christmas gift time. Like, again, we're fortunate. We've got plenty of stuff, so we don't need anything. It's more, if I see something that I know my dad's going to want, I'll get it for him no matter what time of year it is. And like, I have something I'm going to get my dad because he's easy to shop for. Because to your guys' point, my dad will never go buy something himself. My dad is wearing clothes that either me and my brother or my mom have gotten him almost 24 hours a day. Because my dad, he'll never ask for anything, Stugotz. But what he'll do, like if he saw this jacket and he liked it, he would never say, oh, I like this jacket. He would walk up, he'd take his two fingers and he'd pinch a little bit of the fabric and he'd go, oh, this is nice. And then he'd walk away without saying anything else and just expect it to show up eventually on his doorstep at some point. So I've got a couple of clothing items that, because I know I have liked them and I know he would do that and have that reaction if he saw them, I'm going to get him eventually. They're just out of stock right now.
So this is nice is really buy me this jacket.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
I can't have helped but notice earlier in the week, it seems like one of your siblings has once again given your father his favorite gift of all, another grandchild.
Jesus.
Yes. My brother and his wife, Jenny, had their second child, their daughter, Jordan, to join Jackson. A lot of J names in that family. Going to be a real confusing time around the house when it's time to yell at people. But yes, Billy, he definitely, my brother, shout out to him for continuing to run interference on my life. I don't get questions about getting married anymore. I don't get questions about kids anymore because my brother and sister just keep having them and my parents are so preoccupied they don't care.
Trust me, the parents are talking about it though, Mike.
Well, first of all, congratulations to your father.
Thank you.
Congratulations to you, to Jake. Yeah. Welcome to the world, Jordan. I was going to ask, though, and it seems as though the answer is no, is now is the conversation, the pressure on you, like, when are you going to deliver us a grandchild? Because they're fine. Their hands are full. They have a new one.
Right.
Oh,
right.
Billy, no, it's so much worse than that. I'll never forget this moment. This is probably a couple years ago now. Like, my brother already had his son. My sister might have been pregnant at that point. So maybe this is only like a year or two ago. And I was sitting around talking with my mom at one point. And she used to give me grief about the kid stuff in the normal, playful way that like parents do. And then at one point, like my mom, I made some joke about it, and she goes, and it was like this faraway look in her eyes where she's like, me and your father really just want you to find someone. And it was so like, they just want you to have company so you're not lonely in a way that was like, God, all right, I might actually need to do this so they don't feel like they failed.
Not for me, for them.
Yes.
Is that worse? Is that like, I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed? Like the jokes I could take, but I feel like that line was like, ow.
Well, the jokes assume that eventually it's going to happen and it's going to be okay so we can joke. That was like, oh, they're really considering the possibility that I might just wind up alone.
Yeah. Can I ask you a question to pivot slightly, but it's also along the lines of sadness here. I also can't help but notice you decorated your set for the holidays with one sad stocking behind your head.
Yes.
Is that the extent of your holiday
and a Gojo
decorating?
and Golic sign?
Yeah. And
the Stugotz book.
And the personal record book.
Okay,
there you guys do that. StugotzBook.com. Check that one out here.
Look at you promoting books for me.
Yeah, I write I wrote one part of a book. God bless Stanzik and the work that he did putting all this shit together, and everyone else who helped piece this together. But no, yeah, this is my only Billy holiday decoration here. I've got like a couple of tchotchkes I bought at Target. I have on my front door, so into my apartment, and this was true in my house in Connecticut, I have one door in my house where I have like a plush Santa face that hangs off the door handle, but I keep that up year round. I never take it down. Santa is always because he's always watching. He sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. He knows when you've been bad or good. So be good for goodness sake. Santa's always watching. I have the small Christmas tree from the Charlie Brown Christmas special in physical form up year round, and then a normal sized tree with a couple of wreaths.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second. The Christmas tree is up year round also.
The small one. So it's about yay high, and it's the Charlie Brown one, the shitty one before they decorate it and zhuzh it up there where it's real thin and sparse. So you can't always tell it's Christmassy, but it is.
I'm starting to, and I mean this to be helpful, and I know that you're not going to take this way. I'm starting to kind of connect these two stories. You know what I mean? Like the inability to find someone. Santa Claus is always watching on your door year round. We have a Christmas tree year round. Like I feel like if we make slight minor changes, maybe things will change in a larger way, you know?
You mean to tell me, Billy, that if you were a young lady and you come back and we've just had a great date and maybe we're sitting on the couch watching TV and all of a sudden things start to escalate and there's a little bit of kissing, that if you looked over and all of a sudden locked eyes with a plush Santa Claus on the door handle, that wouldn't do it for you?
Maybe the sad Charlie Brown tree also is like, okay, what's happening here?
There's also an elf riding a pug underneath the small Christmas tree there as like a lawn ornament that I just put inside.
Okay.
Oh, that's just adorable.
Billy, is your holiday decoration the Chris Sims jersey?
Well, I have. You know what? Now that you mention it, should I spruce up? I haven't even considered sprucing up the background for the holidays. Like I did my decorating like in the front of the house. I have very controversial Gojo, and I'm wondering, and we'll get to Bill Belichick eventually, maybe. I'm wondering your thoughts on this because this is kind of like a controversial opinion that some people have on the exterior decorating. How do you feel about inflatables? Some people don't like inflatables. They think inflatables are a cheat code.
So I think inflatables are great for other people, will never be my thing. Like never has been my thing, never will be. But I appreciate a good inflatable, especially when because the cookie cutter ones, you get some people that'll just do like the reindeer or Santa's sleigh or something like that. But when people go above and beyond or have a lot of them, I do appreciate that.
All right, I
think an inflatable tree. Are you guys talking about an inflatable tree? Are we?
No, we're not.
Like the inflatable lawn stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, decorations for the lawn. So
I was going to tell people, go buy a tree and throw it on the truck, throw it on the roof of your car, and drive it home.
Are you a real? Would you be a Stugotz? Would you be a real tree guy if you were in the game? Like
I'd send someone out to get me a tree. That's what I would do. Yeah.
What about you guys? Are you guys real tree or fake tree people?
I am a fake tree person who married into a real tree family and lost all ability to choose for myself.
Wow. So you get to clean up the pine needles.
Not only do I get to clean up the pine needles, I get to get my ass up on Black Friday, drive to the tree farm, and take all those awkward pictures, and then get down and cut the tree down and haul it to the car and wrap it up and all that stuff. Man. I get to do that. Knowing full well that I would much rather have the artificial tree.
Yeah.
Welcome to married life. You should do it, Golic.
Yeah. I'm a real tree guy, but we don't have tree farms. I went to Home Depot and I got it out of a tent in a parking lot.
Attaboy.
That's how we do it down here. What I did is I went and I cut the little wrapping with like a little pocket knife. I cut it. I banged it on the floor a couple times so it could stretch out. I could see what it looks like. I'm like, give it a little spin, a twirl. Good enough. This one's the one we're taking home this year. But like on the outside, Gojo, and this is why I ask. So, and I'll blame my daughters. That's fine. I have no shame. I'll blame infants. It doesn't matter.
They won't know.
We are an inflatable family, but a thematic inflatable family.
Ooh.
Yeah. Ooh. So I will have outside, and I wonder if I should give all this information, because then if you pass by, these are very specific and you'll know where I live.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I have a tropical holiday theme going on because it doesn't get very cold down here. So I have a hula dancing Santa outside that actually like hula dances. So I have a dancing Santa. I have a flamingo in an inner tube with a Santa hat on and sunglasses. And then this year I did my inflatable shopping in July because I said, Daddy's not paying full price for this. So I'm going to get this when this is on sale and when it's still available. So I started looking. Lo and behold, I found one. I've now added to the collection, and I didn't realize the size until I inflated it, and that was part of my problem, but also a pleasant surprise for me and my daughters. My wife, not so much. Didn't love the surprise as much as I did, because I inflated it. I inflated it inside the house just to show my daughters before I did it outside, and I hit the ceiling. Now
wow.
I have low ceilings in the room where I did it. But I got an 8 foot tall snowman with sunglasses holding a surfboard and then a giant inflatable palm tree behind said.
Wow.
Snowman. Oh yeah. We're super tropical. Tropical outside.
Gojo, don't you feel like when you go buy Christmas decorations in July, the person's judging you at the counter? No,
I did on Amazon. This is an Amazon thing.
You hid your shame.
Judgment free.
Shame,
yeah. There is though down here, and I'm assuming there are these exist everywhere. There's a year-round Christmas store here. It's a bit
every
of a trek.
kitschy town in America.
Yeah,
every kitschy town in America has one.
Year-round Christmas store. I didn't go to it because it's kind of far, and also I don't really believe that the stuff is as on sale as they say. I worked in retail. Okay, guys, let me tell you something about Black Friday sales and about retail. Oftentimes, and now you'll see it on TikTok and the internet, same exact price. They'll just put a sticker with like new, like, oh my gosh, look, Christmas balls, new low price. You just move it to the side and like, oh, this is more expensive than it was last week.
Billy, thank you so much for illuminating what I've assumed for years, because I'm the biggest mark known to mankind. The gas stations, when you go inside and you go over to the drink section and it's Powerade and it says, oh, you can get these 2 for $6 or whatever. I never know and checked what they were before that. I have no idea if I'm getting a deal. I just see the little sign and I'm like, well, now I have to buy 2 Powerades for this road trip. I'm just being economical and I have no idea if I'm saving money.
Bill Belichick to North Carolina. What do you think, huh?
I still can't believe this is real. Like, I saw the official graphic from North Carolina, but like plucking Bill Belichick off the Pat McAfee show, Michael Lombardi, who's, done stuff at DraftKings and the GM Shuffle and at VSiN going to be his GM. It feels surreal in a way. And I'm still trying to figure out, Stugotz, what the motivation is for Bill Belichick behind this. In an offseason where we thought he'd take another stab at some of these NFL jobs, where we thought the Don Shula record was the sole thing preoccupying him. I know Seth Wickersham's got a piece out and it kind of says, hey, that's something, but it's not the only thing. And maybe he felt slighted by the process. But that's the one thing I can't figure out is Bill Belichick doing this with eyes and going back to the NFL eventually, or is he just going to kick up his feet and try something completely new at this point in his career and see how it fits?
It's super interesting because if you're going to go back to the NFL, Mike, I have to think that no NFL teams were interested in Bill Belichick. He made it clear that he was interested in Carolina. What was that?
There's only 3 jobs open right now. More are going to open up more than likely.
No, I know, but I'm thinking like Belichick put some. The news was out there that he was interested in Carolina. Carolina was interested in him. It sat there for a few days. And I think Bill was probably going through the process. Who's going to call me? Who is going to call me and makes some sort of assurances that, hey, I know we have a coach now, but at the end of the year, you're going to be our guy or we're interested, whatever. I don't think he got anything in the way of that. And so I think he was forced to go to college. And if you're asking me his motivation, I think his motivation is to make sure his family is secure after he's done coaching and his name doesn't mean as much as it does right now. Is that fair?
I guess it could be, especially with the Steve Belichick stuff baked into that, where, whether or not you believe the coach in waiting rumors, as it seems like he's going to go there and be the defensive coordinator. And I mean, listen, five years and $50 million is nothing to shake a stick at. Now, Bill Belichick's got more money than God, so I don't think that's really a motivator in all this. But the other part of this, too, is just these guys are sickos. Like, you guys know this. We've all been around and worked with guys that take the year off coaching and come do this. Not all of them are Nick Saban, where, hey, you do it after you totally exhausted your competitive desires in a field that you've dominated here. Bill Belichick got fired. He got shown the door before he wanted to get out. And so if there is some competitive fire left in there and you've got an outlet for it, then I can understand it, because as much as the rest of us would say, man, if I had all that money, I would go just off somewhere and you wouldn't hear from me anymore. These guys crave this in a way that they just can't quit, no matter how old they are.
How much of this is that he asked for the moon and stars from UNC, thinking there's no way they're going to give me everything I want. I'll give them a 400-page document that says everything I want, how I want the university to run, including making my son the coach in waiting, who probably doesn't belong getting that kind of job. But they did it. They're like, yes, we'll do all of that. And he's just like, oh, okay, well, if you're going to do everything. It reminds me of when Phil Jackson went to the Knicks because they just kept badgering him with money.
That could certainly be a part of all this. And I do think what you mentioned there, the level of control he can have in college, where, before this ever really became real, Dad and I were talking about it in the show, and we'd made the obvious points now, it feels like, where it's, hey, the college level has certainly changed structurally, but it's still a place where, even with the GMs that are coming into college football and full scouting departments, the head coach in this sport has always wielded a level of power very similar to what Bill enjoyed at the NFL level that's atypical for that level of football. And it certainly doesn't seem like anyone's going to ever give him that much control over an NFL organization again.
Right.
And so you're right. If he could go down here, ask for that, and then some, and they eventually gave it to him, and you still have this desire to maybe coach and stick it to everybody, to say, all right, you don't want me up there, that's fine. I'll take North Carolina, this place that in so many people have been talking about it as a dormant power at a basketball school that's got the geographic location working for it, the young alumni base, the resources and stuff, and say, I'll take this place and I'll do with it what no one's been able to do in the 21st century with that school, despite everyone else. I wouldn't rule that out for a guy that competitive.
Do we have to accept, because, I mean, clearly there were no other offers, that Bill Belichick may have coached his last game in the NFL? I think we're probably there, right? Because he's only getting older, Mike. He's going to spend a couple of years at Carolina. If they're not going to hire him now, they're not going to hire him then.
I do feel the age in that thing, because my initial gut reaction was no, we probably haven't, because this still seems like a guy that record does mean enough to get talked about the way it does, and only being 14 shy of tying, 15 shy of beating. But you're right. I mean, he's walking into college football already as the oldest coach there, was in the NFL. All of his peers have been forced out or retired. Nick Saban, Pete Carroll, Mac Brown at North Carolina. And so, yeah, I just don't see how, if he really is here legitimately and not just going to dine and dash after 1 year, which if he's got the tie-in with his son, I don't know how that would work. All these different things that maybe say he'd be here for at least a few years, then yeah, I do think it's increasingly hard to imagine an NFL team hiring Bill Belichick in his mid-70s to come there and try and lead your franchise.
Do you think he has an out clause, like he can leave whenever the hell he wants? Like if someone offers him an NFL job in a month, he can get out of there?
I'm sure he could get it figured out just fine.
No, to Mikey A's point, I think he probably asked for all that stuff and got it.
It's in the Bible.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, if it's just a month, Gojo, we can agree. No one has ever taught this much Carolina football in their entire life, right? Like, they're getting bang for their buck right now.
That's the funniest part about this, though, is because the attention economy is loving this right now, everyone's going to be like, oh, this is like Dion in Colorado. No, it is not. Like, it is certainly like, it's a spectacle in the same way, but you're not going to get Bill Belichick hosting his own talk show on Tuesdays and inside the North Carolina Tar Heels, like looking the way they had on Amazon Prime. And just in general, Dion is a showman by nature. That is who he is at his core. Bill Belichick, I mean, maybe we get the version of Bill that lets his hair down now. He's got the young girlfriend. He's away from the NFL and all these parts tied to his legacy. So maybe he does just relax a little bit. But more than likely, he's going to be the same guy he's always been, which is not going to grab people by the horns the same way Dion did, or piss people off, quite frankly, as much as Dion did on the front end of his time there.
Billy, can you imagine a 17-year-old kid wanting to play for Belichick? Like, is that something? I guess if he's the guy that can get you to the NFL, right? He's the guy that can get you to the NFL. Gojo, kids aren't going to care as long as he's the guy that can get me to the professional level, to my dreams.
It does seem weird, right? And when is the last Patriots? I mean, it's pre-COVID, right? Their last Super Bowl. When was their last year that they won the Super Bowl? Because now a 17-year-old might have been what? 11, 12?
That's what I'm wondering.
When Bill Belichick was dominating and was Bill Belichick, and even then was like on the back end of it, right? So
right.
They'll know who Bill Belichick is, obviously, right? But I don't know that Bill.
He has the cachet, right?
I can't imagine 2019, Billy, for what it's worth.
I cannot imagine Bill Belichick strolling into someone's house to recruit them. Like, that is another part of it, right? Like, you assume he's going to put in all the work to get everything done, right? He's bringing on all these people. He's going to have his army of consultants and assistant coaches and all that. But like, I don't see Bill Belichick just driving around making house visits for some of these recruits and sitting on your couch and being like, we'd love to have your son come play for us. Like, I don't see it. I don't know why. Also, though, like, we used to think that about Nick Saban, then would see videos of him doing the Cupid shuffle, right? And like, he seems like he liked to have a good time and he knew how to get the recruits. So we'll see. Maybe this is a new Bill. We also never thought we were going to see Bill leaving someone's house on a Ring camera, right? So
that's
like,
true.
Bill gets down.
I think there's a lot we don't know about Belichick. Yeah,
I'm kind of with you.
When you go on a recruiting trip, bring your girlfriend and your Super Bowl rings.
That's it.
There you go.
That's it.
Walk in like that.
All 8 of them.
I did wonder, twofold to Billy's point, how much Bill's son and his experience at Washington, because Bill was up at Washington a bunch, like he was around there. They talked about it. Jed Fish, I think, has Belichick ties somewhere in his past, the head coach now at Washington. But then also what Nick Saban's told him, like Bill and Nick work together. They obviously have kind of been in lockstep their whole careers. And Nick Saban left for all the reasons that we're curious why Bill Belichick would go to college for.
I can't believe there wasn't another offer for Bill Belichick, or maybe there was, and Belichick he just wanted to go to North Carolina. I mean,
I think the one big difference.
It's strange.
I think the one big difference, though, Gojo, is that like Bill's NFL coaching experience is closer to what college is now than Nick Saban's college coaching experience is to what coaching is now, right? Yes. So like he's more. I would almost say like somewhat more prepared and maybe more equipped for this new NIL environment than old school college coaches were.
Yeah, I would agree in general. And I think your point, the relative standard of this, because that's the thing I've talked about with like Kenny Dillingham and Dan Lanning and a bunch of these young coaches who got their first head coaching jobs during all this change. Marcus Freeman at Notre Dame, they don't know a world as head coaches without the current things that they're balancing in this job as the standard. If you are Nick Saban and the rest of these coaches that have been around for decades in the sport and have watched it more from this thing you knew how to do very well to something that feels totally foreign, yeah, I could understand that. And so Bill coming in without any priors and a skill set that is closer is a reason I thought, hey, this is less far-fetched than it originally looked on the surface.
How are you, Joe?
I'm good, thank you.
It's really good to see you. I see you every year at Lake Tahoe. You always make me smile. How's the golf game?
Okay.
Yeah.
Hitting it as far. So now all I really do, the only thing I really work on is I work on my hybrids. Mm-hmm. And, I don't ever get anywhere. I need to chip, putt, and hit hybrids. That's basically my game right now.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it's
the short game, right? Yeah.
It has to be a short game. I just can't generate as much speed as I used to.
Joe, we'll get to what you're doing with Army and Navy. That game is this weekend. It's our Super Bowl here on God Bless Football. It's our national championship. Yeah. It's a great game. It's a great tradition. But I am wondering, Joe, you hear the news Bill Belichick is going to the University of North Carolina, and your thoughts are what?
I'm not surprised. Everybody obviously thought that he would be, back in professional football. But to me, I think there was a time back. I remember Coach Shula. There was a lot of talk about him really wanting the Notre Dame job. I think there are certain jobs in football that coaches really look forward to. Certainly, there's going to be a heck of a lot less stress than there is in the professional part. I would say that the season is shorter, but now when you start to look at the addition of the playoff games, I mean, we've got colleges playing almost 15 weeks of football, so that really isn't going to change that much. But I think it's a new exciting challenge for him. I think that's really what we're looking at. It's a different, new, exciting challenge.
Joe, have you been a fan of the new college football playoff format? Have you enjoyed this season? Are there too many teams? For me, there's too many teams, so I'd be interested in your thoughts.
Well, I enjoyed the season. I just didn't necessarily like the way they made the selections. And the reason I say that is I know it's difficult. I know this is the first year. I understand that totally. But from my perspective, if you're an 11-1 football team, you have conference champions getting automatic buys. Well, what happens if you're not in a conference and you're a really good football team? Are you being, questions, are you being penalized because you're not in a conference and you have a better record than those that are? And that's, I think that's some of the tweaks they're going to have to do. But as far as foundationally goes, getting started with a college playoff, this is a great place to start.
Joe, one of those 11-1 teams that you mentioned maybe participating in our national championship this weekend, Army, and you may not like this, Joe, because you do a lot for the armed services. You have for the years. It's great what you're doing this weekend. But one of the disgraceful things that you did was in your college career, you beat up the armed services 4-0 3 times.
How dare you, Theismann?
Yeah, it's incredibly disrespectful. And we get on Mike Golic Sr. about this all the time because an argument can be made that your Notre Dame team is to blame for why Army is not in this playoff right now. And we say, because we do our own rankings around here, Joe, we say that wins against the armed services should count against your eligibility for the playoffs.
So if you beat one of the academies, it becomes a minus.
Correct. Absolutely correct. Yes.
Golic likes to couch it under, hey, we help them up when we tackle them. But, I mean, they don't want that. I mean, let them win.
Exactly right.
They teach us how to keep on fighting no matter what the score is.
Yeah.
They do. They teach us to, and this was one of the things when playing the academies. And, we were bigger at the time when I was at Notre Dame. I think Mike, probably felt the same way. As we were bigger, and as the game went on, we managed to wear them down a little bit. But man, I'll tell you, from the first kickoff to the final whistle, you better be ready for a fight, because there's no quit in these guys. They're not giving up. They're going to keep on coming at you. And that's, all part of the military. And, that's what's so exciting for me, being part of the, the Army-Navy game. If Army was in the playoffs, would they still play the Army-Navy game? This to me is a game that has to continue. I don't know what would happen if Army was in the playoffs, and we don't have to worry about that right now. But I mean, the USAA does such a tremendous job with our game here, the Army-Navy game. I'm excited. I've never been to one, and I'm looking so forward to the opportunity to be able to be there, to the pageantry, to see everybody in uniform, to watch these two teams play, 8-3 and 11-1. This is going to be different than, I think, Army-Navy games before, where basically they ran the ball a lot. Army wants to control the game. Navy wants to put points up through the air a little bit more. So there's so many wonderful things that are going on with it. And it's really a chance for the country to come together. It's the only game of the weekend, and I think it should remain that way, and that's what makes it special. And these are young men and women that are leaders. Here's the other thing, too, is people come up to us as athletes all the time, and they call us heroes. We're not heroes. We're just, and appreciate it, believe me, but, we're just somebody God gave a gift to, the ability to run, jump, throw, whatever it might be. And from my perspective, those young men and women that are playing in this game and at the academies, and those young men and women that are in uniform around the world, those that put that uniform on, are out there defending us. And any chance you get to be able to say thank you to someone in a uniform, let them know how much you appreciate them. So to me, they're the real heroes, because if we go to work and play ball, no matter what it is, you come home. When they go out and do their job, there's no guarantee. And that's why they should be celebrated and appreciated. And it's an honor to be a part of this particular game.
It's also a cool year because it's in Washington, D.C., which it isn't always. And you're obviously a Washington, D.C. legend. We can ask you about the Commanders in a little bit later because they've had a surprising season. But you and RG3, both Washington Commanders favorites, are having a cool giveaway that you're doing in conjunction with the game, the Recycled Rides giveaway.
Yeah, we are. What they're doing is they're retrofitted vehicles. It's going to take place 11 o'clock on the National Mall, at the National Mall on Friday, tomorrow. And we're basically giving away vehicles, one to Matthew Walker with the Navy, and Caleb Dooley, who's with the Army National Guard. And they're going to be receiving these vehicles, and so much work has gone into it. So many people have contributed to it. Like I say, USAA is the driving sponsor for this, and it's special to be able to provide someone wheels to be able to do the things that they need to do instead of having to figure out a way to get to work. They'll have the opportunity to get in their car and be able to drive. And like I say, Robert's going to present to the Army, and I get to present to the Navy.
Joe, before I get to the Commanders, because I know you're excited about the success of the Washington Commanders this year, being a former Washington Commander, me and Mikey A were saying earlier, we have stopped getting our dad's birthday gifts. I don't get him holiday gifts. Mikey A, I'm not certain if he gets him holiday gifts. Are we bad people, Joe?
No. I think they know how much you love them, and they appreciate it. And the fact that you just don't want to spend any money on your dad, I mean, that's up to you, unfortunately.
Why are you making me feel bad
if I do?
Well, see, now here's the thing. This is the thing. If I'm making you feel bad, that means that you should get gifts.
So he gets mad at me.
That's okay. Let him get mad. Let him get mad. Believe me. Let me tell you something. Parents are something special. I've lost both my mom and my dad, and they're just a special part of your life. And to me, they'll tell you all the time, don't get me anything. I don't need anything. I don't want anything. Yep. Okay, fine. But I'm giving you this anyway because you deserve it. And do whatever you want with it. But I want you to know I appreciate you. So in all honesty and not joking around, yeah, I think you should give them gifts. I really do.
Yeah. We're bad people.
And that way you're not bad people.
Well, I feel terrible.
You just honor them that way.
Joe, have your children stopped giving you gifts yet?
No.
Okay, good. I was going to say it seems like the first time's going to really hurt. And then after that, they just expect like, okay, my children are just ingrates. They're not going to give me anything anymore.
They're terrible.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I buy my Joe, for the record, I buy my parents gifts still.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Good.
He does. Yeah, he's a good person, Joe. Yes.
Yeah, I think, well.
What's the greatest gift you've ever received, Joe?
Hugs.
Hugs.
Yeah.
Hugs.
I'll get my dad one of those.
Yeah.
Way out though. So that's what I do. I don't buy him a gift because I don't, as Joe pointed out, I don't want to spend money on my own dad. So I give him a hug and I say, "That's your gift," you know?
Well, that's a gift.
Yeah, it is.
You know?
You're right. I feel better now, Joe.
Why attach a price to a gift?
Right.
You know, a gift can be knowledge. A gift can be, a hug. A gift can be a look. There's so many ways you can define what a gift is. And to me, I think parents earn the right to be able to get one in some way, shape, or form.
A gift can be the team with the first pick in the draft taking Caleb Williams and not Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels has been amazing, Joe. How impressed have you been with Jaden Daniels?
Extremely impressed. I'm impressed with everything about him. I've had a chance to be with him sat down at lunch with him, get to know the young man a little bit. He's as great a person as we've seen him as a player. And he has great composure, throws the ball extremely well. And this is something we haven't had in Washington for a while, throws the ball down the field extremely well. And that's really what you look for, is you're looking for chunk plays in our game. You're not going to go 10, 11, 12 plays all the time. And it's very difficult to do it on a number of occasions. But if you can get those big plays, which he's able to do, I think it makes a world of difference. And you got to give Cliff Kingsbury, I think, a lot of credit. Yeah. Because, like what Caleb's going through in Chicago, turmoil as a coordinator, turmoil everywhere around him. There's stability with Jaden. There's stability in what he's able to do. And I love the way Cliff starts a game with him. He gets the ball out of his hands. I remember when Peyton Manning first went to the Indianapolis Colts, Tom Moore was the coach. Tom, Pittsburgh coach. Now he's in Tampa, still coaching. And I sat with him one day. We were doing a Indianapolis game, and I said, How do you deal with Peyton? He says, first of all, you have to keep giving him stuff because he continues to want to get better and better and better. You have to have a bucket full of things to present to him. But I made my mind up that I didn't want to get him beat up physically or mentally. So in his first year there, the routes were short. He got the ball out of his hands, and he developed the ability to be the Hall of Famer that he is, to be able to get the ball out, to be able to not take negative plays. And what I see so often now you mentioned Caleb in the Chicago situation, managing a game, and people would say, oh, this guy's just a manager. That's not an insult, guys. That's a compliment, because it means that you don't start changing plays when there's 30 seconds on the clock. You don't start throwing the ball into, when you have a chance to score, throwing it in places where you're not going to get a chance to put points on the board. You're sliding to protect yourself. You're getting out of bounds. That's a manager. And so if somebody called me a manager of a game, hey, I'm thrilled, because that's my job. If you look definition of a quarterback, manage the game, that's your definition. And Tom Brady was a manager.
Yeah.
Peyton
was at the beginning, right? Brady was a manager at the beginning. People forget that, Joe.
Even at the end. Even at the end. The last, Peyton won the Super Bowl in Denver. Great defense, but he outmanaged the game over Cam Newton.
Right.
Cam was on the other side of the, he was quarterback of Carolina, and Peyton managed the way Peyton couldn't throw like he did when he was younger. He knew that, but he managed it so well. And this is just classic Peyton.
Yep. Joe, we'll get you out of here in a second. We always appreciate the time. I want to run this by you. If Notre Dame wins the national championship, we at God Bless Football believe they should then have to play Northern Illinois. Do you agree?
No.
No, really.
Already done that. No need.
Worried, Joe? Yeah, you're afraid. What's happening here?
I'm not a rear view mirror guy. I'm looking through that windshield, seeing where we're going, not what happened behind us.
Right. You kind of want to get that off the resume, that blemish, though. You know what I'm saying? Get a second crack at them.
Double or nothing.
There's no eraser on it. That's the problem. It's there. It's not like you have this giant eraser and you just, it ain't going away.
What's up, everybody? Tony here. Do you love sports betting as much as I do? Wish you can get that extra edge? Well, I've got great news for you. Masterclass, which I love, by the way, just dropped Bet Smart, Top Sports Betting Strategies, a game-changing course taught by GOATs, taught by the pros, such as Nick Kostos, Captain Jack Andrews, Joe Fotenbaugh. Learn directly from the pros as they share insider secrets on managing your bankroll, spotting hidden gems, and avoiding those rookie mistakes that could cost you big. I'm always looking for useful tips and tricks to improve my bankroll and just to be a better bettor in general. That's why I took the Bet Smart Top Sports Betting Strategies class. I consider myself a pretty confident bettor when I hear Rob Pizzola, when I hear Captain Jack break down the pros and the cons of flat staking, of protecting your bankroll against bad bets, a lot of different things that we don't think about as regular bettors. I realized I wasn't betting to my full potential, and that's why I love taking this class with Masterclass. Masterclass always has great offers during the holidays, sometimes up to as much as 50%. Head over to masterclass.com/DLB for the current offer. That's up to 50% off. Masterclass.com/DLB. Masterclass.com/DLB. And remember, all sports betting involves risk, and you're responsible for complying with all sports betting laws in your jurisdiction.
I have a question for you. So I saw your normal co-host was out, and you had a fill-in co-host, and I'm wondering why you never invite us to kind of co-host with you when it's time for fill-ins on your podcast,
Mm-hmm.
Well, one, the people who fill in are here in person, so are you going to fly up?
We'll fly up. Absolutely.
Yep,
Chris, I'll tell you right now, if you invite us to fill in with you on your podcast, we will fly up to NBC to do that with you.
And expense it to Le Batard. Yes, we will.
All right. We'll note that. That's
or the
noted.
Peacock. Someone.
Also, it happened like very last second, right? It was one of those things where
there was
some sort of family emergency, and Ahmed Fareed couldn't pull it off. Right. So I joke with him, and I've had some jokes. So then he couldn't do it Wednesday too, because it kind of spilled over. So my last two I haven't done with him. And I know he's okay. He's got something he's dealing with, but I've been making fun of him. He drinks energy drinks, so I always jump on him for that. Like, oh, nothing like some good old poison in a bottle.
Well, now hold on a second. Now you're trying to make us feel bad about the fact
coming
that
from the guy drinky, smoky. I mean, really.
Yeah. I mean, man up. Drink your poison like it's meant to be. Alcohol. Okay. That's how it's supposed to be.
All right.
Not like Sour Patch infused energy heart attack drink. Yeah, that to me is like, ugh, disgusting. You drink energy drinks, you guys? You do that?
No.
Good. No. All right. No. Yeah.
Hold on.
Stugotz, you don't need energy drink. I know that.
Let me check. No, none of them are currently sponsoring us. So no, we do not drink that.
But if there was one,
we would think that one was delicious and different.
That one definitely is the good one.
PFT with Mike Florio every day on Peacock, the Unbuttoned podcast as well. Football night in America, Sunday Night Football. I'm going to start baseball. Go ahead, Billy. You go. I had a baseball question for him, but you go first.
Hold on a second.
Fuck your baseball question. Just don't. I don't want to hear it.
Well, hold on a second, because Chris, I have news for you that I don't think you're aware of, not related to baseball. We'll get to baseball in a second, but God Bless Football, the show that you're on right now, was nominated for Best American Football Podcast in the Sports Podcast Awards. Voting is open now. We would love to get your endorsement. Tell people to come vote for us so that we could win this award. Do we have your endorsement?
Of course you got my endorsement. Let's go. I mean, It is a damn good football cast and football podcast, and we get a lot of good info even when I'm not here. And then, when I am here, I push us over the top to greatness, the award winnings type of stuff. So hopefully that continues.
Well, I very much appreciate that, and I appreciate your endorsement, because one of the other shows that we're going up against is your brother Matt and your father Phil's podcast for the same exact award.
I love it.
You're not part of that podcast, but you're part of this one. So I feel like it's time for us to wage war on the Simses. You know what I mean?
That's right. Yeah. F- them. They've never invited me on their podcast. F- them. Let's go. God bless football.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Why haven't they invited you? It's terrible. I mean,
that's a good question. I don't know why. It's terrible. It's terrible. They don't invite me to a lot of things. All right, so I'm like the outcast of the family. I don't know where I stand there exactly.
You know Belichick very, very well. Your family knows Bill Belichick very, very well. Were you surprised by the news of Bill Belichick going to North Carolina?
Beyond surprised, shocked.
Really?
Right? Yeah. I mean, I said all the same things that you heard Brady and Gronkowski and Edelman say on the pregame of Fox last week. Like, what? Bill Belichick with a bunch of kids talking to parents? Johnny's dad called. He's not getting enough playing time? Like, what? Bill Belichick? He couldn't even talk to Tom Brady after he won 7 Super Bowls when he was like, hey, I think we should throw them more. F you, Tom. Get out of the building. Like, what? Like, that's the way I am. Am I shocked? I'm beyond shocked. But at the same time, and this is where I guess I'm not a little shocked, I'm not, like, totally shocked that teams in the NFL didn't want him, right? And that's what you were getting a sense of. I think there was some flirting and some talking with Tampa Bay. I think Jacksonville was in the conversation a little bit, but I think obviously they decided they did not want to go that route. I don't think there was much of a calling for him. His age, right? How much longer he's going to coach? How much is he going to ask to control an organization? All of those, I think, were, detractors for hiring Bill Belichick, let alone, this is something that I tell everybody, and I don't know if everybody knows this, is just that how much the New England coaches, Belichick, and the staff behind him are disliked by the majority of the NFL. That's where his, New England and their chest out, and we're the Patriots, and we win Super Bowls and do all that, it's rubbed a lot of the league the wrong way. I definitely have friends that are like, oh, Belichick, oh, those people there, blah, 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 right? It's all, they invented football. They're probably going to tell us how to, throw the football now. They invented it. It's all that kind of stuff. And a little bit is just because of the way it was run up there in New England. It was very tight-lipped. Coaches weren't allowed to talk to other coaches in the pregame and everything there. And the kind of guys he hired are not necessarily all social guys either way. But I think, you burn as many bridges as he did throughout the NFL with the way he treated people for so long. I think he had a lot of people that were like, I would do anything not to have Bill Belichick in my building. And I think you saw all that kind of come to a pinnacle here.
Chris, the Tua we've seen the last 4 or 5 weeks, is this the best version of Tua you've seen?
The most efficient?
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it's the best. I feel like, those early first year and a half with Mike McDaniel were pretty damn special. And the fact of the big plays, the way they were executing the offense and all of that. Now, not all of that falls on Tua, of course, because people have caught up to the offense and all that. And, what we've said the last few weeks, I think they've changed their philosophy a little bit into, hey, he's our franchise, we're paying him, and we'll add more plays where we get the ball out of our hands quicker. They're a pain in the ass the way they play that way. Right, a ball control pass offense. They can chew clock up. If you play zone, they will absolutely pick you apart. There's no doubt about that. And, of course, then if you start to play man-to-man because you're worried about that, they can still find ways to beat you down the field and find creative ways to get Tyreek and Waddle on the run. So it's damn good, that's for sure. The Dolphins are, it's unfortunate he got hurt because you're a playoff caliber football team that's fighting for their life now just because of that situation.
Chris, I'm wondering how you feel about this because you had a good game on Sunday night. You had a cute game, Packers, Seahawks, but you don't have the game. And I don't know why I don't know why the NFL.
Well, what
did
is
not
the
flex.
game? What is
come
the
on.
game?
You know what the game is.
I know you're going to say Bills Lions, but Eagles Steelers is also pretty big. That's all I was saying.
Well, whatever. Regardless, either way, you guys, what did the NFL let you down by not flexing one of these games into Sunday Night Football? Because I feel like Bills Lions is a big one. Steelers Eagles, okay, fine, whatever. But Bills Lions, Chris.
I know.
Josh Allen is so good.
Yeah. This just in. Okay. And he's like,
was that a question? I mean,
like, Josh Allen is one of the greatest we've ever seen, right? I mean, he's one of the greatest. Josh Allen is a first ballot Hall of Famer for my money. I know he needs the hardware to go along with that, but Josh Allen's one of the best quarterbacks I've ever seen in my life. He's John Elway 30 years later. And unfortunately, so far, the start of his career is the John Elway story, where they just can't win the big game. And it's not because of John Elway. It's because of the rest of the team. And like so many times, John Elway went to the Super Bowl and lost, and they're like, oh, John Elway can't win the Super Bowl. And then the point was, it was like, nobody could have brought those teams to the Super Bowl other than John Elway. That was it. And that's where sometimes, people drop the ball on the big picture of what's going on there. Allen's crazy, is insane. I wish we got that game too. The flexing stuff, Billy, has become very complicated. I don't really understand all of it. They can protect certain games, CBS and Fox. So I don't know. I'm not complaining. Ours is pretty damn good. I'll take it. But yeah, that Bills-Lions game, I think it'll be a lot like you saw the Bills and the Rams last week. It's going to be a high-scoring game. I picked it to be 41-38, I believe. Neither one of these defenses will be able to stop the other. The Bills' defense is not good. And they're definitely not good when McDermott gets put in the bind of you have to stop an equally good run game and pass game. See, he can come up with game plans to stop if the team is like, let's say Miami, they're really good at throwing the football. I know they're creative running the football, but it's not like they maul you, right? They're not going to maul you. They do it with creativity. So he can hedge on, okay, yeah, they might get a few good runs or blah, 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 but we're going to play to stop the pass because we don't feel like they're just going to blow us off the ball all game in the run game, right? The Rams can do that. The Lions can do that. And the Bills can't play man-to-man. So when teams start to run the ball on them, they try to play man-to-man, and everybody runs by them. So they're in a tough bind. They're going to give up a lot of points this weekend. But with the injuries on the Lions and their defense and no big pass rushers on the edge, this is the kind of games Josh Allen can take over. So I expect this one to be awesome, Billy, to your point. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm most excited about that game this weekend, too. I second what you're saying.
To what you were saying before, Josh Allen had a game last week that we've never seen from anyone ever. Like, no one has had the 3 passing touchdowns, the 3 rushing touchdowns. He was just incredible. And Stugotz has been making the point all week, and I'm wondering if you will co-sign on this. He has said that Josh will never win with Sean McDermott as his coach.
Chris, that decision to run the ball on 1st and goal cost them the game. That was a terrible decision.
Or if you're going to run it, just don't call the timeout. I'm with you. I know what you're saying. Get the up off of the quarterback sneak and call another play. The timeout was more valuable than anything, right? That's your point, and that's where they messed it up. But yeah, I'm with you. There's 2 or 3 times every year where McDermott kind of has some questionable end of the game decisions. But Billy, I'm a fan of him and his coaching and what he does. I'm more not a fan of the personnel they've had. That would be my biggest issue. Again, on the defense, who is there to write home about? Tell me the defensive lineman that's going to ever make a play or the team has to worry about game planning for, right? Who is it? Right? Secondary. Can you name a guy in their secondary if I really sit here and talk to you about it? I mean, again, go ahead, Billy. Look it up as you're sitting there. That's what you're doing right now. 100%. That's what I mean. They got Matt Milano at linebacker, but that's my point, and he's not himself yet. There's not enough dudes there. And that therefore goes into Josh Allen. We got to outscore against the best teams. Now, the difference is this year is he's got enough weapons and an offensive line around him to where I do think in these games where we go, oh, Josh Allen's got to be superstar and take it over, he can overcome it because there's enough help around him, at least on the offensive side of the ball. I don't think he'll be able to do it this week. He'll keep it close, but I think the Lions will win the game.
God Bless Football is presented by Smirnoff. We do game days. Please drink responsibly. The Smirnoff Company, New York, New York.
It is time for this week's edition of Stugotz, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Stay tuned because you'll hear more about DraftKings and all it has to offer throughout the show. DraftKings, the crown is yours. College football, 4-2 last week, 76-66-2 on the season. One game this weekend. Our national championship. Army, Navy. We never select this game. If we did, though, we would take Army over Navy, -6. If we did. But we don't, because we take both Army and Navy, and we give ourselves a 2-0. How about that? 2-0. So I'm 78-66-2 on the season. We'll get to the NFL here now. NFL Week 15, 5-2 a week ago. I'm on a heater. I really am. 61, 38-2 on the season. All the talk is about Billy's big board bets. No one giving me credit for 61, 38-2 against the spread. No one. All about Billy and his big board, which isn't big at all. Anyway, let's get to the picks. Dolphins +3, taking on the Texans. I am taking the Dolphins here, buying up to 3.5. The Dolphins win the game outright. They win by 7 points on the road. Colts taking on Denver. Colts getting 4 points. I am taking the Colts to win the game outright. They need it more. Colts by 3 points on the road over the Broncos. Bills +2.5. Big game. Game of the weekend. Bills +2.5 at Lions. Buy it up to 3. I am taking the Bills to win by 4 points on the road. They get the cover. Steelers +5.5 at Eagles. Buy it up to 6. Eagles win. Steelers cover. Eagles by a field goal over Pittsburgh. Bucks +3 at the Chargers. Chargers are getting 3 points. I'm taking the Bucks here. Buy it up to 3.5. The Bucks win the game outright. They win by 4 points. They get the cover. Packers -3 at Seattle. I can't figure out Seattle. I can't really figure out Green Bay as well. I think Green Bay is better. We take the Packers here. The Packers buy it down to 2.5. They win by 14 points over Seattle. Vikings -6.5. They're taking on the Bears. Buy it down to 6. Take the Vikings, a team that we won't take seriously until they're hoisting the Super Bowl trophy. Vikings win by 14 points. They get the cover. Falcons. What did I say? Falcons -4 at the Raiders. Falcons, they need it. Raiders, they are dreadful. I'm taking Atlanta here. Atlanta wins, and they cover Atlanta by 10 points. Those are the picks, everyone. Good luck.